Alright, Big Rich here. So, a little electrical work that we need to do in our bathroom remodeling project. Got these beautiful hanging lights. If you want them, you can pull them out of my garbage. So, they're wired into the ceiling, dropping down, right? Kind of old school stuff. I'm going to take and mount a light bar here and a light bar here over the new sink locations, right? So, got to pull this out. The switch to control those lights is over here, if you can see. So the wire goes up out of the switch box, up into the ceiling and back out. I'm not going to worry about pulling that wire out. I'll cut it here, and we'll just close up the hole and leave everything up there. We'll pull the lights out. So then we'll put up new boxes for the new lights. So the electrical work to do on the bathroom project. Well, Big Rich is no electrician here, but we're at the switch box now playing with the lights. So you can see I got the switch. One of these wires goes up to the switch and the load. The other is the ground. And again, this is probably power. I'm no electrician, but we play with this stuff all the time, right? So again, I recommend everybody, right, turn off power before you disconnect things to your switch and bathroom. So we have two wires coming in, right? This is a GFI breaker, so these circuits are separate. I can see in the box that none of them are connected to the switch, so there's a separate power coming in for the switch and for the light. So we just got to figure out which side is power, because I want to leave those two wires in the box, and then the other two wires I'm going to follow up and I'm going to snip that lead. Those are obviously going up to the lights, and I'll reconnect those. Hopefully there's enough length into the first junction box and won't have to change the wire out. That's my plan. Big close up of Big Rich here. So you can see I got the two wires disconnected now. So one of these is power, the other one goes up to the light. And I'm just going to test them in pairs. So I got my voltmeter here. Want to turn it on to voltage AC. If you got a voltmeter, right? Make sure the leads are connected, right, to the right connection down at the bottom. So this is volt AC. And you can see I tested this out by actually just going into a socket. And you should get 120 volts, give or take, right across the leads in the socket. So we're just going to test these in pairs. And I'm going to go to the top one because I can follow this wire through. Goes to this screw, and it's coming in through the same wire as that circuit there, right? So we'll just put this on here and see if we get 110. And we do, and the other one should really give us nothing. There shouldn't be any voltage on it. But we'll double check just to make sure. And no volts there, and probably no volts there, right? So again, just double checking top screw and wire. So 125. So it turns out it's this second wire in the box where the power is coming in. So I have to leave that one there, and then the other wires are running up. The two back in this corner, I will leave in the box. I'm just going to take and snip them way up high and take them over to the new electrical box that I'm putting in. So voltmeter to figure out which is which. There you go. Okay, so we got our wires. We figured out which is the hot, which is going to the switch. So it's this wire here, and you can follow it up the wall. I'll have to pull the staples out to get to it. But I hope I have enough length here to get into this electrical box. That's my plan. I'm going to try and snip it up right at the ceiling and run it over to my new electrical box that I'll install. If it's not long enough, I'll have to take and pull the wire and fish a little bit longer one, right, to run the circuit. So, well, since I was actually using the switch side of the wire to cut, I just left the power on in the box. Didn't have to take out the switch, and as it turned out, I was able to cut the wire high enough to have enough to reuse the wire going up to the first switch box. Alright, so I got my first electrical box mounted. The wire's strung up through. And I actually used a couple screws to mount the bottom of the electrical box, right? And it's spaced 3/8 inch out from the wall for the drywall. So, alright, so I have the wire cut and routed here, so I made sure to turn the power off, obviously, right? But it was a switched circuit, so I just turned the switch off to the circuit. You can see I have the wire cut. It goes through a stud. I just drilled a 1/2 inch hole through a stud. And unfortunately, I had enough wire to not need to rewire it, so I just ran that up to the first box that I have for the first light. So we'll hang a second box. So as I showed in the last video, electrical box, I cut the wire up top here. This is just a dead circuit now, obviously going under the light, right? There was just 2 wires going up from the switch. Drilled a hole through the stud here and mounted my first light box. I'm going to put a second one over on this stud. I got 2 sinks right in the bathroom. So these are the little metal boxes I'm using. They got little plugs in the bottom of them. You stick a screwdriver in and you can bend them out and just wiggle them back and forth. If you haven't done this before, and they just break right off. So as you can see how easy that is. And there you go, the hole. And so the Romex wire just fishes up through, and then there's a little strain relief screw plate that you tighten down on the wire. So I'll bring another wire out of here, drill some holes across the studs, put it into the next switch plate that I mount. And then you can't see the lights above me, but there's a wire hanging down. I'm going to pull the lights out of the ceiling and then the fixture there. So continuing on with our little electrical project. So after I get the other light box put on over here, I got my old light fixtures, a couple change, and the hooks in the ceiling will come out. I'll pull this plate off and pull the fixtures out and throw them away. So that'll eventually come up and plug this hole in a drywaller. When it comes in, I'll smooth it right off. So that should finish my electrical lighting project, right, for the putting the 2 lights here above the sink versus hanging them from the ceiling. Alright, now just cut off the raw copper ends of this wire, even though it's a dead circuit now. Just in case for some reason someday somebody does something. We'll put a little tape over the end of each of the wires. Again, I'm not too worried about it. This is all going to be buried up in the ceiling and the wall, and it's dead to the other side, so and I'm going to leave this electrical box up in here. Eventually I'll cut a little round piece of drywall to plug the hole, and probably use the electrical box and screw it in to hold it in place, right? And then the guy can come in and patch over it. So, alright, double check our height of the boxes. It's about 13 and a half to the center of that box. We got another mark here on the wall. Good thing I checked, that mark's about 14, so we got to raise this up a hair. Obviously I want the 2 lights to be at the same level. Alright, and so this edge kind of spaces it the right distance out for the drywall. Got the 2 tangs, kind of just dry fitting and eyeballing it. Same height as the other side. There you go. Box pretty solid up there. I already pulled the plug. I showed you that in the last video. I like to do that before I hang the wall. So now we're going to run the Romex. And so just a couple things before I run the Romex from box to box, right? I'm going to put it on the outside of the pipe like they did down here. Kind of checking to make sure I got some screws coming through the drywall for shelves in the closet. So I'm going to pick the right height to stay away from everything, not hit the pipe, and route my wire now. Don't want to make sure I don't go through that pipe there. We're just eyeballing this to keep it the same distance through all the pipes. And we're just going to put a rough measurement on the Romex. So I need about 3 feet plus, if we go from the holes up out of the box, I'll do a little extra here, right? So maybe 8 inches on that side, and obviously 8 on the other side. So that's 36 plus 16, 42, 52 inches, right? So measure twice here, right? 8, and then we'll bend it coming across this way to the other side and go up, and I get about 52. So seems about right. Got my Romex cut to length, hopefully the right length. Just fish it through the wall. Right, I used a 1/2 inch holes for the Romex. The guys that built the house, it looks like they got even bigger hole. It just makes it easier to pull it if you use bigger holes. Again, you want to make sure that you use the right gauge wire for what you're connecting. This is just a light bulb, so it's really low current, not a lot of energy going to it. But check your code, make sure you have the right fusing. Right, I had 2 bulbs with the same circuit. I'm basically running 2 bulbs again, so no reason to worry too much about it. So we'll make sure those wires are about the same length on either side. And again, we take it up through our hole. In our box. Pretty good there. A little stiff, but that's all right. Give me a little more on this side if I can. All right. So eventually we'll strip those wires right after the drywall is up. I think we got plenty of length there. So there you go. 2 new fixtures to install some lights from and not use the ceiling lights anymore. Last thing I got to do is come in here and tighten down the strain relief in both of the boxes. So we'll do that just to hold it in place. Pull this one wire up. Get the Romex. Make sure you have the Romex right in the strain relief and not the wires. It's fairly important. Guys got a nice pit shot there, like that. Big Rich. So there you go, strain relief done. I'll do this box, and eventually we'll replace all the switches to the newer square type and get rid of the old switches and find light fixtures to go in. So, well, there you go. So new boxes set up for light fixtures, wiring redone, got the strain relief connected, old lights out. So how to rewire and move a couple electrical boxes, right, to change your lighting. That's the sitch with Big Rich. Make sure to subscribe and watch the rest of my bathroom project videos and all my other projects and reviews on the Big Rich channel. Have a great day.